How often do you think about the Oscars? I mean, really think about the Oscars. I know we all think about them for like 3 months at the start of the year when the race is actually on, but like, how often do you actually think about how many movies have won an Oscar? It's over 1,000 at this point, over 1,050 actually. They range in genre from sci-fi to horror to drama to comedy to drama to romance to drama to Jesus Christ. There's so many dramas, you guys, you don't even know. And they range in quality from genuine classics we still talk about to this day to hidden gems we've forgotten unfairly to genuinely some of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But all those movies are kind of a snapshot of where culture was at the time they won, because they won Oscars, because they were considered big and important enough to be Oscar nominees, because the Academy saw something in them, even if we don't totally get it. So the premise of this podcast is this. Every episode, I will randomly determine an Oscar-winning movie, get two volunteer guests to talk about it with me, and we'll chat. The discussions will be a little free-form, a little loose. The only requirement for guests is that one of the three of us, either myself or one of my guests, has to be watching the movie for the first time. At least one. Sometimes it's all three of us. That's fairly common, actually, because a lot of these movies are more obscure than you might think. I would like to note that a movie's inclusion is not a recommendation of its quality. I saw the TV Glow, my favorite movie of 2024, didn't get nominated for any Oscars. Whereas Amelia Perez, one of the worst pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life, won 2. It's also not an endorsement of anyone who won an Oscar or was in an Oscar-winning movie. People who are cruel or thoughtless or racist or other forms of bigoted or absolute monsters have won Oscars. We sure all have a laundry list of those kind of people who have won awards, and I don't like that. I don't think anyone else does, but I don't think it's helping any of us to pretend that it's not the case, to pretend that these people didn't win their awards, and to pretend these movies don't exist. Even monsters can make great art sometimes, and even good people can make terrible art, so we're gonna find out what kind of movies win Oscars together. It's gonna take a while to examine them all. A lot of movies have already won Oscars, and it's not like they're stopping doing ceremonies while I'm doing my podcast. So, I hope you want to come along.
And with all of that in mind, I'm your host, as always, Ellie McConaughey, and with me today is Sam Marchiony.
I don't care if it's going to make the ghost of Alec Guinness haunt me. This is just Obi-Wan Kenobi doing a heist movie. And I didn't like it.
Oh. And Gillian.
Hi.
And we are here today to talk about the Lavender Hill Mob, the 1951 motorcycle.
It wasn't you that time, so...
You want to take that again?
No, I didn't want to keep that. What are you talking about? That's gold, baby, gold.
Which, like this movie, there's plenty of car chases, so it kind of fits.
Yeah, but if people stuck the three of us in a room together, I think you could tell us apart, even if it was in all black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are here today to talk about the Lavender Hill Mob, the 1951, I guess, comedy? Is that, yeah, comedy.
I'd say comedy.
That won Best Writing, Story, and Screenplay at the 25th Academy Awards.
This movie technically has one of the same Oscars as Sinners.
True.
I feel unclean.
Are you also... I mean, like, one of the things that struck me about wanting to cover it, like, when I rolled it up, I'm like, oh, I'm looking at this movie, I'm like, oh, Alec Guinness, I feel like I should watch more stuff with him in it that isn't Star Wars, honor his memory. And I'm, like, looking, like, the BFI ranked it the 17th greatest British film of all time? The Vatican put it in its film list and art. Like, what am I missing here? It's fine. I liked it. What am I missing?
It is decidedly mid.
It's funny. It got some laughs. I'm very confused by this movie.
Got some sensible chuckles. Got some...
It is a sensible chuckle movie through and through.
So I guess for the British, that means it is the height of comedy.
That's why it's number 17 on the...
Okay, I was then curious, okay, so what are the top 10 BFI British films, blah, blah, blah? And the answer is going backwards from 10, Train Spotting, The Red Shoes,
Yeah.
Don't Look Now, Kess,
Absolutely.
Kind Hearts and Coronets,
Yeah.
the 1946 Great Expectations, The 39 Steps,
Nine.
Lawrence of Arabia, Brief Encounter, and number 1 is The Third Man.
I can see it at least. Like, The Third Man is a classic.
Kind Hearts being over this movie makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think you could turn this one into a musical.
No.
Train Spotting makes a degree of sense. Lawrence of Arabia makes sense. Brief Encounter makes sense. Great Expectations wasn't all I hoped for. There we go. Someone got me. Don't Look Now, I absolutely understand. Yeah, I don't know if I get this film. It was funny. What am I... Britain? Hello? Do you want to explain yourself? I mean, how many films can Britain really have made? It's like 25 people.
Britain is like half of what Americans watch at this point. Like,
I know.
I mean, if we're being 100% serious, this was right when the British invasion was beginning. Like, it didn't fully kick in until the 60s, but this was the first seeds, let's call it.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to come up with a joke. Hold on.
This Singing in the Rain was this year too, and it...
Apparently, the British Film Institute thinks that this movie is better than Laurence Olivier's Henry V.
Yeah.
Everything Monty Python ever did, including the highest ranking of those, Life of Brian.
That's correct. That is the correct pick. I will not elaborate.
It thinks it's better than Sense and Sensibility.
No.
It thinks it's better than A Clockwork Orange.
No.
No.
So, like, Kubrick's gonna be kind of complicated, right? Because, like, he made all of his most of his later films in Britain, but he wasn't British. He just hated flying, so he just...
Yeah, but this was about the films being, quote, culturally British.
Okay. Culturally British, I can, like... I'm not saying that this would be my pick, but I can, like, talk myself into it. It is an extraordinarily British film. It is extremely concerned with the British culture. In as much as it's, like, concerned with anything outside of wackiness. You know, if I were to sum up my job as I perpetuate British cultural depravity, I would probably turn to a life of crime too. You know? And like, I don't know, like, it's weird. It's an odd film to be so beloved.
The most memorable thing about this, honestly, is the fact that Audrey Hepburn is in it for like 3 seconds.
She is.
My favorite Brazilian, Audrey Hepburn.
With the oh-so-creative name of Chiquita. That's not even the right language, I don't think. I don't know, maybe there's some overlap with Portuguese and Spanish on that specific word, but still.
Personally, this year at the Oscars, I'm very impressed that a Baz Luhrmann film managed to win Best Art Direction Color a full 10 years before he was born. Thank you, Gillian. Thank you, Gillian. No one else got me. I know Gillian got me. Gotta get an amen.
Which movie are you talking about?
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge won 2 Oscars at the 25th Academy Awards.
Oh, God. I didn't have the full ceremony up.
I'm doing a bit. I do bits like that. I don't know. Like, I felt a little trepidation coming into this episode, not just because I am dead tired. But it's like, I don't know what I really have to say about this film. It's
Looking at most of the films that are listed here, I don't think I've heard of most of these.
I've heard High Noon. Heard of High Noon. I don't think I've seen it. I've heard of The Greatest Show on Earth. Again.
I've heard of Come Back Little Sheba.
Yeah, but like as a meme in queer culture, right?
I did my best Shirley Booth this morning. Can of fuzzy slippers, can of little friskies.
I don't know. It seems like a
Tony Kushner.
Okay, we're gonna find. I'm like popping my neck out of joint to try to find a way that this film has World War II looming over it. Come on, we're doing it.
Paris. I don't know. This is the second movie you've had me watch where it's just like, oh, God damn it, I want to go back to France. And I should not want to go back to France. France is fucked up. I mean, not as fucked up as the US, but like, you know?
I do know. I'll say, I'll go panning for some gold nuggets of depth. I will say that, like, if we're talking about British national character, British culture, whatever the fuck the BFI is on about, meet me at a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, also known as the American Film Institute. Bam! The opening monologue from Alec Guinness about how basically no one in Britain thinks they will ever achieve anything is kind of like, that's a little cutting. That's a little something there. I think Alec Guinness is kind of funny in this movie, but he's got some cutting moments, I feel.
Yeah, it's still a performance where, like, at the very least, I can't fucking remember when it's him sometimes. Like, it's very hard to tell these people apart, partially because it's black and white and partially because these are all British guys with some kind of jowls. I could only really recognize Stanley Holloway because I know that voice so intimately as Alfred P. Doolittle.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, I've sort of accepted that, like, I'm better at telling them apart. I feel like I was just like, I recognize Alec Guinness's voice, so it was like, that one. The two guys with the Cockney accents are the actual criminals they get, and then there's Stanley Holloway, who is in fact gonna teach me something. I don't. Yeah. No, Alfred Doolittle's the father. Fuck, I ruined.
With a little bit of luck, Obi-Wan Kenobi will try to sell you out to the cops and run off to Rio de Janeiro.
I mean, that's basically what he was trying to do in A New Hope, right? He was going to sell Luke out to the stormtroopers and run off to Alderaan, i.e. the Rio de Janeiro of space, which I guess makes Chewbacca and Han the two criminals that they pick up.
George Lucas, you unoriginal hack. What else is new?
I'm gonna go, like, find George Lucas at some panel or something and ask him about this, and he's just basically be like, never speak to me again.
I did have some vibes of the Hidden Fortress, though, when the criminals were, like, picking up the gold bullion and being like, hey, hang on, we're gonna, like, lose it or whatever. I don't know. It very much reminds me of Tahe and Matashichi in Hidden Fortress, or as I affectionately call them, the two idiots.
I mean, like, it's an idiot movie. It is a movie whose plot. I mean, like, people. I'm coming for the creators of TV tropes, blood someday.
Why?
But, like, people use the word idiot plot as kind of pejorative, and I guess it usually is. But, like, Fargo is an idiot plot. Like, an idiot plot is a movie that only exists, a plot that only exists because everyone in it is an idiot. Is not necessarily a bad thing. They can be quite funny, and everyone in this movie is a fucking idiot, including the cops.
No, there's one person who's not a fucking idiot. I fucking love the little girl who did not give back her Eiffel Tower. That child is an icon.
I'm a huge fan of how, like, she doesn't have a good explanation for it. She's just like, I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, that's a 10-year-old, all right.
It's mine. Fuck off.
That's 10-year-olds are just kind of like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose, like, the basic premise of, like, a boring banker wants to steal. Well, he's not even a banker. His job is to, like, sit in the back of a truck with all the gold there.
I think I liked this plot better when it was the producers.
Yeah, it is a little producery. Although this is pre-producers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Which just goes to show that anything can be improved if Mel Brooks is involved.
So what you're saying is that if this movie is the same plot of the producers, but it came out before, this is pre-production?
God damn it!
These are the jokes, folks.
I blame Gillian. She gets me in a pun mood.
I didn't even do anything this
You were here. I'm here to be like,
Just fuck already.
we're waiting until marriage.
Sure.
That part's getting cut.
Editing Ellie here. And then I just kind of didn't.
No, we're back on topic. The basic premise of like wanting to steal this gold that you spend your entire life like transporting slowly and agonizingly from one place to the other. That's like, again, I can talk myself into seeing more to this movie, but I feel like I'm doing a lot of the legwork. I don't know, like what do we think people are seeing in this? Like that's what I'm trying to determine basically.
funny bits, good comedy.
I am literally like scrolling through the full 1952 in film Wikipedia page trying to see if there's anything in here I recognize that isn't like, a pre-established thing like Othello or whatever. Like this was the bastion of originality we had in 1952. This
It's also on the Vatican's list of like films. The films the Vatican said in 1995 were important. And like, I'm trying to say this. I don't want to like be offensive to any Catholics in my audience, but like,
the Catholics can take it.
okay, yeah.
You have my conclave episode, Ellie. I'm just going to say my conclave episode. God.
Can confirm that conclave episode.
I will have to have my own conclave episode at some point. Okay, then to just rip the Band-Aid off, I don't give a fuck what the Vatican thinks about basically anything, but like it's interesting. And like I'm looking at the other movies they listed under art, and it's like 2001, 8.5, Fantasia, La Grande Illusion, Nosferatu, La Strada. Like these are like real meaty movies. And then you got this thing just like sitting there in the middle. Like what am I missing here? What am I
Sometimes you just need to add a silly one, I guess.
I guess like
But this
I mean Modern Times is on there too. That's also quite silly, but there's like no, I need to like I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to like come on, Ellie, you can talk yourself into an insane position. You do this all the time. I talk myself into insane positions all the time. Okay. So like
Much like money laundering a bunch of gold bullion into Eiffel Tower paperweights.
I mean like so like a paperweight is kind of an item without inherent value, right? Like it's just sort of
those are big fucking paperweights. Like normally a paperweight fits in like the palm of your hand.
right.
It does technically fit in the palm of your hand, it's just really tall.
Okay, but like fits in the palm of your hand and does not exceed the basically a paperweight generally should not be something which can be used as an instrument for other activities. Unless of course you are Academy Award winning movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Flared base. I cannot overstate this, audience. If you have an Eiffel Tower paperweight, do not use it for that. Christ.
But only if there's two other people, then that is a proper Eiffel Tower. No.
Jillian, I love you.
I'll leave. It's fine. No, I'll leave!
Good night, everybody!
Oh, Jillian, come back.
Very short episode. 20 minutes, we're in, we're out. Goodbye.
Au revoir, Peterson. I'm going into the metro and fucking off to Rio.
No. I'm talking myself into it. So, like, neither of these people think their, like, work has any intrinsic value. They're both, like, to use a modern term, they both kind of have bullshit jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's capitalism. You're not special, guys.
Right, but like, so if I'm again, this is literally just me trying to talk myself into a pretty basic read of the film that's more complicated than it looks on the surface. And so in that context, turning a bunch of paperweights, a bunch of items with no inherent use or value that exist only to to basically remind you, hey, remember when you went to Paris? And making them gold on the inside, making them the most valuable thing in the movie is kind of like uh, it's not something. It's not like a little Maltese Falconish. I don't know. I'm trying real hard here, y'all. I can't actually have a 20-minute episode. My listener would revolt.
I did have like some fun with the scene where they were trying to get on the boat.
Yeah, where like every piece of bureaucracy.
Like just the increasing ridiculousness of you need tickets. Okay, we have tickets. Now you need passports. Okay, we're going to go do the passport. Oh no, Stanley Holloway can't find his passport. Okay, here. And now you have to go through customs. Okay, we went through customs. Okay, now you have to do your money exchange. Here's your fucking money. Let us get on the boat. The boat has left.
It was that was a fun scene. It's one of the whole chase in general is one of those jokes that like gets funnier because it keeps getting drawn out, you know? And you know that the end result has to be that he doesn't make it on the boat because then there's like no movie. But it just keeps getting funnier, you know? I'm also extremely amused by the beat where they tell the lady in Paris who they're shipping all these Eiffel Towers to, like, don't ever use these boxes marked with an R. And she's like, it's not marked with an R, it's marked with an air. French speakers, can you explain that joke to me? But I even though I think I got it.
In French, the letter R is pronounced air. Like, it's a gag in Les Miserables that the character of Grantaire just signs his name as a capital letter R.
Oh, so that's why it's... Yeah.
That's why it's ER.
Ah. Similar language joke, I don't remember when, but there was a 999, Stanley Holloway says no, no, no.
Yeah.
Good shit.
That was kind of funny.
Guten Scheiben.
I think.
I don't know, like there's a Marxist reading on the film in that the two dudes who are just criminals, just like openly criminals, seem a lot happier and more fulfilled with their lives than the guys who are following the social script. I was extremely amused by the admittedly kind of lengthy beat where they're like trapped in the office because they're waiting for a criminal to show up and there's a criminal already in the office hiding from them, and him pulling out his arrests in the paper as his resume. Very solid joke right there. I don't know, like there's not. I'm talking myself into it, but maybe by the time we hit the hour mark, I'll have come around.
This does at least kind of indicate that Alec Guinness had a talent for physical comedy that I'm sure served him well in Kind Hearts and Coronets, but I don't know, it doesn't feel like they really... Well, for one thing, I don't think this film works that well as a black and white film. I feel like the colorblind joke would have worked better if it had been in color.
I mean, so Alec Guinness was... The tragedy of Alec Guinness more than anyone else in Star Wars is Alec Guinness was the real fucking deal. You know? He won... He did not win Best Oscar more than once, but he won it for Bridge on the River Kwai. He was an incredibly successful actor with decades of important works, and then he appears in some random low budget sci-fi film. And he's like, no one's gonna give a shit about this, and it takes over his entire career. Many such cases.
Very Alan Rickman in Galaxy Quest. So kind of, yeah. Or
nobody made you take the role, Alec.
His agent did at gunpoint.
His agent stuffed him in a truck, drove him off, tied him up, stuck tape over his eyes, and left him there.
His agent touched the lathe of heaven and saw what Star Wars was to become. You have to do it, Alec. You have to do it. No, I say that's a tragedy. It's not really a tragedy. It's honestly the tragedy there is that more people don't watch his other films. Which I think a friend of mine has a podcast about watching other movies that Star Wars actors have been in.
What? Nah. That would be a really stupid and excessive waste of time.
Love you too, Sam.
There definitely wouldn't be charts and a droid.
You do have you have nearly as many spreadsheets about your podcast as I do, Sam. Don't fucking worry about my spreadsheets. I don't know where I'm going with that bit.
Maybe this heist would have gone better if they'd had a spreadsheet.
Oh, you know what? There's your advice that you should get from this movie. 1, always have spreadsheets for your heists. 2, don't follow the girl who's holding your evidence into a police museum. 3, have fun and be yourself.
Yeah.
Those are my advice for crimes. Have fun and be yourself. 4, murder is acceptable.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. Parody non-actionable.
Hi, Gary the FBI agent.
I think his name was Steve or something. I didn't get his first name. Anyway.
It might be Todd.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Are they, you know, limp wrist from Lavender Hill?
It is a little gay.
It is very gay.
I will give it that.
And European.
Exactly.
They're gay and European.
And neither is Disgrace.
European is a little bit.
Ellie, Legally Blonde's the musical, just...
I know. I know what you're referencing. I'm like, being European is a disgrace. A little bit. Same way American is.
Especially being British.
British derogatory.
British barely counts as European. Because remember, they all said, actually, no, we don't want to be European anymore, except Scotland was up like, aye, we want to be European still, you numpties! I don't know what that accent was. I apologize to my Scottish ancestors.
The biggest night in podcasting would like to apologize. No, like, I mean, like, that's sort of the bit there, isn't it? Like, Britain is definitely European. It does like to sort of consider itself a part, but, like, I don't know. Europe is one of those things where people have, like, incredibly specific bigotries against not only every neighboring country out at least 3 levels, but also, like, another village half a mile down the road. So I don't really feel like I can sitting here from America examine
from you, Dad. I learned it from watching you.
The worst bigotry I have against a neighboring state in America is I like to make fun of Massachusetts for drinking too much Dunkin' Donuts. Well, I drink too much Dunkin' Donuts.
We're coming for you. We've got a bucket now. We've got a Dunkin' bucket we can use for coffee boarding.
I kind of...
Oh, God!
I'm not going to lie. When Val and I saw that when we were at work, we were both like, do you think we could get, like, the Dunkin' bucket and split it? Or actually, should I just chug the whole thing and see God?
You're welcome to try.
No, I would fucking die. No, I'm very off track today. So, like, there is something about, like, the fact that he's devoted to selling. I mean, like, part of that just feels like the fact that, you know, he sells French memorabilia is kind of just like a reverse engineer to give them a way to get the gold out of the country, which, as it turns out, is the actual issue with stealing gold. Is that the actual issue with stealing gold? People who steal gold, sound off in the comments.
We here at Biggest Night in Podcasting are not cops. We have to...
If we're cops, we have to tell you.
Yes. And therefore, that's why we told you we're not cops.
Precisely. I don't know, like, I feel like using a kind of comedic heist movie to do satire is not it's not a bad idea, but I feel like the director did it way better. The director of this movie did it way better 30 years later with A Fish Called Wanda. Also, future episode, I guess, and a movie that I think is better than this one, frankly.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it.
Heard great things about Kevin Kline.
From a college... Yeah, I heard good things about it from a college professor whom I actually hated viscerally, but what he raved about in that movie was Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis is quite good in it. Kevin Kline is hysterical in it. Good use of your Kevin Kline. That is the second episode in a row where Kevin Kline has come up.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin Kline's a good guy.
He is.
I like Kevin Kline.
Every time I watch Bob's Burgers for, like, an extended period.
Kevin Kline would have been good in this movie. Like, if you had Kevin Kline in the Alec Guinness role, I think I might care more.
It is this, I guess, sort of the issue of the movie at its core is like, yes, it makes me laugh pretty consistently. I will give it that. I keep track when I'm taking my notes of how often something makes me laugh, and it makes me laugh pretty regularly. The problem is, I just kind of don't care. Like, they've got this whole complicated shtick going on at the end, trying to keep themselves from getting caught, and I'm just like, okay, have fun, guys.
Arguably, trying not to get caught is what got them caught. No, not arguably. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could argue that something would go sideways if they, like, had, if they would probably have gotten found out, you know, if they hadn't tried to go track down the Eiffel Towers anyway. But you know, it's easier to evade capture when you have a head start, besties.
Yeah. You know what is better than being filthy stinking rich? Being filthy rich and not getting captured.
Why Rio de Janeiro? What was going? Was it literally okay? Now there's how World War II rather, looms over this movie. Was Rio de Janeiro his like place of choice because it was like literally one of the only places that hadn't gotten just like absolutely ravaged by war recently?
Well, I mean, I guess he couldn't go to Argentina because that's where all the Nazis went.
So it would be very nice. They'd probably pretty cheap. But no, the Nazis went to Brazil too. Didn't you see the documentary film The Boys from Brazil?
No, I didn't. But I am also remembering, I think the 50s was just a time when, like, Rio was the thing, because I think that's also when, like, the Three Caballeros was, like, Disney's big thing.
That kind of sounds right. Wait, when was the capital moved to?
Three Caballeros was 44.
Yeah. Okay, I was like, was Rio still thick? I was like, I'm trying to think of when the capital became Brasilia and not Rio.
Yeah, I mean, like, Three Caballeros, my family owned it on VHS, so I watched it, and so I remember a lot of Donald Duck running around Bahia chasing women, but, you know, I think in the 40s and 50s, Europeans and Americans were just kind of fixated on Brazil as, like, tropical paradise type thing. Maybe because it also didn't have threats of evil, yucky, scary communists like Cuba.
Right. Wait, Brasilia was 1960.
Well, that's sort of what I was driving at. Like, South America didn't super get involved. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gillian.
Sorry, I was doing esoteric musical theater.
I love your esoteric musical theater.
You love everything, but even though I don't try, it's...
Yes. Turn on, brain. Brain, work with me here. Come on. So, like, South America didn't substantially get involved in World War II, so, like, it was not ravaged by war or recovering from a wartime economy the way a lot of Europe and Asia and North America was. And Nestle hadn't shown up to... I'm not...
Steal all their fucking water.
That's one of the things they did. Hey, kids, if you ever want to be, like, endlessly angry, I can't recall the title of the book right now. I'm going to edit it in later. But there's a book that I read in college about how Nestle did a huge, long propaganda campaign in, like, South America to play up bottled formula breast milk, and then stopped giving out formula breast milk and jacked up the price.
Oh,
I think that was in Africa as well, but...
Probably.
Editing Ellie here. The title of the book is The Baby Killer by Mike Muller.
And, like, there was bad shit about, like, hey, don't mix this formula with water because that's bad. But, of course, like, they then jacked up the price, and mothers were trying to make the formula last, so they cut it with water, and it killed babies.
Whenever you list your most evil companies, people always have, News Corp, Halliburton,
Meta.
You should always make sure to put Nestle in there, too. However evil you think they are, they're more evil than that. Yay.
I haven't had a Hot Pocket in so long.
Yeah.
Why do they own everything?
Capitalism. Monopolies.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
God, this makes me want to steal a truck full of gold bullion and turn it into Eiffel Tower paperweights. Just like in Lavender Hill Mob, which won the Oscar for Best Original whatever, different name.
Screenplays.
Best Writing, Story, and Screenplay, what the fuck ever. That's a stupid name for the Oscar.
They really they were really having trouble with their Oscar naming up until like the 60s. You know, what best music score of a dramatic or comedy picture, best music scoring of a musical picture. Fuck off. Fuck off. And stop putting art direction into two different categories. Weirdos.
Found a Letterboxd review that says, loved how the only part of Old MacDonald that the cop sings was the part with the pig noises.
Is this movie a cab is the question.
I think it leans more to all cops are in... Well, they're doing their jobs, but I think it leans for all cops are incompetent more than...
All cops are buffoons?
Yeah. Well, everyone in this movie is also a buffoon, so...
The movie is, I think, unfortunately... It's got some Hays Code energy of, you can't show criminals doing shit unless the criminals get punished. And even though, films made in the UK weren't subject to it, if they wanted, American distribution, they had to have it, so...
It's the framing device is honestly kind of weird. I would think it was there to justify the narration, except that you're right, it comes back to indicate, no, he did get caught by the cops after living in Brazil, rich for a year. Which, sure.
And my brain automatically went to, it's kind of similar to, I know it doesn't exactly happen like this in Kind Hearts and Coronets, but it's Monty leaving the journal in the prison cell while he's in Gentleman's Guide. Or similar.
Oops, yes. What about the memoirs?
Yep.
The second, a new rule for doing your crimes. Don't write anything out about your crime in prose form. Put it in the spreadsheet, because no one reads spreadsheets. That I don't know where I'm going with that.
R.I.P. Holland, you would have loved seeing Facebook posts bragging about your crime and getting covered by Nash and Tara on what the fuck is wrong with you.
I'm gonna ask a question, and I know that neither of you are gonna know the answer, so I'm maybe a little bit throwing out some bait for British listeners. Is only calling someone but don't know super well by their last name, is that a thing in England? Because that's weird, guys.
42.
Unhelpful, but thank you.
What do you mean unhelpful? That's the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Yeah, but I don't feel like it fits here, because I'm not asking what the answer to life, the universe, and everything is. I'm asking a specific question. I'm just saying, if a dude...
It insists upon itself?
Yeah. I'm just saying, if I'm hanging around Britain, and, my coworker or whatever the fuck calls me McConaughey, I'm no, stop that. That's weird. Why are you calling me by a 3-syllable last name? It's Ellie.
McConaughey, that's 4.
All right. I'm just saying. Ellie, 2 syllables. 3 non-recurring letters.
Fuck if I know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're stretching a little bit to talk about the movie. I will also add that I like Alec Guinness just very calmly and flatly reading this crime novel to this elderly woman knitting, who then talks to the cops in criminal slang. That's pretty good. That's something.
Honestly, that lady kind of reminds me of what's her face from Gaslight, Bloodthirsty Bessie.
I don't think there's any character named that in Gaslight. I think you're crazy.
Boo.
You're right, and there's no knife in my hand right now. I'm completely mad.
Running away.
Yes, run all the way to the Long Island Sound.
I can swim, you know.
Then why do you always threaten to walk into it?
The point is that I won't. We are
The Lavender Hill Mob, 1951.
okay. You know it's bad when Gillian is trying to keep us on.
I
top.
don't.
1952. My bad.
I know you kind of asked it. I don't think they're.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I see it. I don't think it's like intentional.
Ellie, you see it in everything.
To each their own.
That's fair.
Your mileage may vary.
I see it in everything, but also like it's not like. Look, I grew up in the deep dark trenches of Tumblr. I'm aware that if you can get two men, preferably white and British, to stand in the same room, a lot of people will go. They fucking Tumblr. Examine your racism problem.
They never will.
They never will. And your lesbophobia problem.
They never will.
And they never will. No, like
Yay.
more seriously, getting back on topic. So I'm looking at the movies it beat for best writing, story, and screenplay. And like, first off, I've not heard of any of this shit except for Viva Zapata. So like, I don't know, there was something.
Gesundheit.
Did I mispronounce it?
No. I'm tired. I'm making bad jokes.
Fair
Lo
enough.
siento por todos
Oh, Ilya Kazan.
que hablando español. Ah!
Well, we don't wanna talk about the movie where Marlon Brando plays a Mexican.
It was written by John Steinbeck.
Elia Kazan knows what he did.
He does. I did mention this on one episode. He did direct a movie where he was like, "Hey, it is okay to narc on your friends for being commies." I know.
Do not. This man does not speak for us. Do not narc on your friends for being commies, unless it's to narc on how cool they are for being commies.
But this was during the Red Scare and people getting blacklisted, so it was.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like that could also be kind of the. So, like, Britain didn't do the Red Scare quite as bad as we did, but like it did not do it. No, most of Western. I hate the fucking. I'm not going to call it the Western world because I fucking hate that phrase. What does that mean if you're not being a racist? But like most of the Anglosphere, there we go, did like their own little like mini Red Scare. But like there's definitely a reasonably Marxist reading of this film. You know, it is kind of broadly about the bullshit of capitalism.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny that the two career criminals are the ones we don't see get like arrested and punished.
I mean, I think the thing is, the movie is still kind of like endorsing the system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it never pops into Alec Guinness's head to like try and exist outside the system. It's more about like, the system sucks. How do I make it work to my advantage?
Well, like so the central issue with it's not. I don't want to say this definitively about Britain. So the central issue of American social consciousness is that every American sort of subconsciously thinks of themselves as like a future millionaire. You're never actually poor. You're just gonna be. You're just not rich yet, you know. And so, like the distinction between that and the British, who, you know, he says in his opening narration, like they've all just sort of accepted they're never going to achieve their life's ambitions. They're going to work a faceless job where they sit in the back seat of a truck while they transport more money than you'll ever see from one place to another. Like that's the vibe. That's the vibe. And I wish you're right. I wish it could sort of spin that into a systemic critique into like understanding that, because you know a lot of people are really obsessed with money in this movie, but like I don't know what Holland wants the money for. His plan, his long-term plan, is just to go back where he was. What does he want it for?
Yeah, like, the movie doesn't even have like a love interest he can be running off to Rio with.
He's got Aubrey Hepburn.
Like, that's exactly. I mean, if you'd had more of Audrey Hepburn in the movie, then she probably wouldn't have had quite as big a splashy entrance when she did Roman Holiday a couple years later, but anyway.
Oh, you're right. There is no love interest. I think that's kind of like...
That probably also helps with the whole, are they, you know?
No.
Yeah, basically, the love interest is basically...
Money, capitalism, gold,
I mean, yeah.
having slightly more capital to afford a slightly nicer apartment and tide you over.
British society is so, like, ultra stratified. You know, you can be the richest motherfucker in the country, but there are still going to be people who can have less money on you than you, who sort of see you as their, like, societal and financial lesser because they got that lord in front of their name. And I don't know, like, I think that makes British rich people a little fucking insane, if that makes sense.
Don't get me started on 6 seasons of Downton Abbey. Just don't. 6 season and 3 movies.
3 movies? Oh, they did 3 movies? I thought they did 2.
3 movies!
The third movie came out last year?
3 movies about, oh no, how will these rich people who are not rich anymore become rich again so they can save their ancestral home?
I mean, like, I think that sort of logic train, it does create the sort of self-perpetuating cycle where, like, you know, American capitalism has this prosperity gospel kind of bent to it nowadays, where, like, if you're rich, you're a good person because good people get rich, that kind of logic train. But, like, Britain adds this extra layer where, no, there are people who are just, like, born better and having more status by dint of a couple of letters in front of their name. And I think it turns a lot of, like, the British, not just like British rich people, every British person, but especially British people, into a society of Gatsbys just forever standing looking at that green light. You know what I mean? I'm rapidly talking myself into an insane position. I need you to stop me.
That kind of makes sense, yeah.
Stop you from what? Recognizing the futility of existence within a capitalist system that grinds us down to the bare minimum so that we don't have the time to aspire to anything other than survival?
Oof.
Oof.
Listeners, my day job is as a career coach. How do you think I'm doing right now?
Is there something wrong with the economy out there? I mean, like, that's sort of like the flip side of all of this is, like, this dude has what is on its face a pretty airtight plan to get his money, to get his fortune, to steal these bricks of gold and use it to get his slightly nicer apartment. Incidentally, again, this is one of those things where, like, I see in the 50s, like, y'all fucking had, like, people whinging at you for staying out kind of late. Like, your landlady coming down to whine at you? No. Unacceptable. I don't even like staying out late, but I will do it if I please. No, but, like, and then it all gets completely undone by, like, just, like, normal, everyday people acting out of his, you know, predictions. The Pendlebury gets held up because the shop owner at the art stand kind of gets thinks Pendlebury is stealing something, and also Pendlebury gets distracted, which is that's a good scene. That's the ADHD mood. This is the most important 10 minutes of my life. But oh, look, that's something interesting.
Yeah. I like the bit when they're going down the spiral staircase for like a couple minutes and then they get dizzy after. Good shit. Good bit.
Yeah, the Eiffel Towers get distributed to some random children because
They're going on a field trip.
and because the lady at the counter didn't understand their instructions. Should have written it down. Why did you tell her over the phone? Write down. Never use crates marked with this. Bam. Easy, man. Come on. Which is extremely odd because Pendlebury spoke French. Why didn't he understand that? I don't know. Like,
Probably because we're assuming that the audience is stupid and does not speak a dirty garbage language like French.
I mean, in my case, they're correct, unfortunately. Apparently not in yours.
Je parle pas seulement un peu de français.
Omelette du fromage.
Et le français est mal.
I gotta drag you on some French movies.
Mais non.
French movies are often very much Ellie core movies. Long, gay, weird. Which this movie was none. None of those. Well, it was a little gay. But none of them, really. Make it weirder. I don't know. I feel like we're really stretching for time here, but I don't really know what else I have to reasonably say about it.
I'm wondering if Stanley Holloway ever had the range, or if that is just the one thing he did. Because, I mean, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with actors for whom they have just one thing that they're super, super good at. But, like, you know, you still gotta find some ways to zhuzh it up. Or, like, add some extra charm to it, such as, say, an earwormingly catchy song.
2 earwormingly catchy songs, perhaps.
With a little bit of luck.
I'm getting married in the morning. Ding dong, the bells are gonna chime.
No, we don't have time for that.
No, talk about My Fair Lady. Talk about My Fair Lady.
Do you think Audrey Hepburn came up to Stanley Holloway when they were filming My Fair Lady? It's like, do you remember me from that 30 seconds that I was in the Lavender Hill mob? He's like, no, we weren't in the same scene together, love.
I mean, like, I'm looking at Stanley Holloway's filmography. He's been in a lot of stuff. Not a lot of stuff I've seen.
He's been a gravedigger in a chunk of...
For all we know, it's the same character every time.
I don't think he was playing the same character in Brief Encounter, but I haven't seen that since I was a teenager. So don't fucking quote me on that.
Brief Encounter, I hardly know her.
I mean, that's a joke better than you might think, given the premise of Brief Encounter.
I also have not seen Brief Encounter, therefore additional layers. So I do hardly know her.
I was saying you haven't even encountered it.
Yeah, exactly. Not even briefly.
Waggity schmaggity, and may I add do.
I mean, he not Brief Encounter, not eligible. He played the gravedigger in both Hamlet and in the Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. So
probably some comedy shenanigans afoot.
I recall liking the Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. It was funny.
Oh, he was in 10 Little Indians, And Then There Were None, or one of them. Yeah.
One of those books which has increasingly unpleasant name, no matter what farther back you go.
Yeah, it is that. Yep, exactly.
Stop peeling off the letters. It's worse than, it's a cookbook. No, it's not. Oh, it's that kind of cookbook.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I said that it's not long or gay or weird. I guess, like, when, as much as I'm trying to, like, tease out something interesting to say out of this movie, maybe I should have gone and, like, dragged up what other critics have said about it. I hate doing that as a rule, because when I first see a movie and talk about it, I feel like I want to, like, form my own opinion, but I genuinely feel like there has to be something I'm missing here. But that actually happens more often than you think with the Oscars. There's plenty of instances where I just sort of, like, I feel like I'm Michael in Arrested Development, like, her?
Ed?
You went with that? You went with Forrest Gump? Really? Okay. So, like...
What do you say about, like, the Oscars being a snapshot or whatever?
Yeah, that's sort of like... I feel like with a lot of Oscars, and, like, this isn't always true, there are plenty of Oscar-winning movies that have stood the test of time, to wit, The Third Man. There are plenty of Oscar wins that are... You just kind of had to be there. Like, I think we're already there, but I think in, like, as little as 3 years, no one's going to be able to explain, like, why Coda won Best Picture. Because you'll sit down and watch it and be like, well, that was very mid. Which is why I kind of like, this is the first, no, it's not, it's the second episode I've recorded after the Oscars that aired this year. And like, I'm just always gonna prefer Oscar ceremonies where like good, bad, or mediocre, they at least awarded it to something that was like interesting. I'll take 100 One Battle After Another's over one Green Book. Yeah. Anyone got any final thoughts?
No.
Fuck you for making me remember Green Book.
I unfortunately didn't discover the Green Book Morrissey song until after that episode was posted, which is why I don't reference that song 150 times in that episode. But yeah, sorry for making you remember Green Book. Sorry for making you watch Green Book. Green Book, it's worse than you think it is. Put that on the fucking poster.
Okay, fine. I'd watch this again before I'd watch Green Book.
Oh, absolutely. This is 80 minutes long.
True.
If you, I mean, like, I feel like I'm not super down on this film. It was cute. It made me laugh pretty consistently. If someone who understands this film better than me wants to like pester me on Blue Sky, or perhaps a little bit more friendly for the algorithm, wants to pester me in the comments of this video and explain to me what's so special about this film, I'd love to hear it. But I genuinely can't figure it out. It was pretty good. 3.5 stars.
You're generous.
I try to be generous. I try to be generous with older movies, you know.
God, were the 50s that boring?
Short answer, yes with an if. Long answer, no with a but. They were boring if you ignored all the reasons they weren't boring, which a lot of people in the 50s were pretty content to do. Also, I don't know if Britain was involved in Korea. See previous episode MASH.
Was Britain involved in the Korean War? Yes.
Yay.
Woo, imperialism.
Sam, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Oh, sorry. Imperialism in Britain. Fork found in kitchen.
Well, as alluded to, I am the host of 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. This movie is eligible by virtue of having Alec Guinness in it so that he can continue to haunt me and scream at me for only really caring about him as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm sorry, Alec Guinness. Maybe I will eventually find you in a movie of something else that I like. It is probably not going to be Bridge on the River Kwai. I don't do brown face.
You shouldn't do brown face anyway. That's a social faux pas.
It's a hate crime.
That too. They're like squares and rectangles.
Why are we whispering?
Oh, fucking no.
And I don't host anything, but I am on social media and on Cutie Puppy Fire. If you haven't followed me, please.
Heartily endorsed.
I mostly just reblog shit, but when I... You know what? I'll stop.
You don't have to stop.
I know I don't have to stop posting. I'll stop doing my spiel.
You don't have to stop doing your spiel either.
As always, our host can be found on Blue Sky, Medium, and Letterboxd at LSR42, and on Tumblr at Football in Tuxedos. This podcast can be found on both YouTube and Spotify. If you liked what you heard, maybe give us a comment to tell us what you liked, or just like the video if it's on YouTube. Subscribe. Make sure you get new episodes. They come out every other Wednesday as of right now. And if you didn't like what you heard, I'm sorry.
Thanks to Gillian and Sam for coming out. Sorry this one wasn't more interesting. But, you know, next time I'm going to go with a movie that I do know that I like quite a lot, a movie that I do find extremely interesting, and a movie that's also quite funny. We're all going to tune in to watch Hannibal Drink a Lot. Our next movie is Another Round. Hope to see you there.